I'm Nicole Linden. I'm here with my mentor, Chelsea Lehman, to discuss my post-conference for my elementary target student for the very first lesson.
All right. Tell me about this lesson.
So, for this lesson, I wanted to focus on social skills and behavior. It's a huge issue. It's been a huge struggle for this child. So we did actually the lesson that you suggested, which was the red-green activity. And so you start out with a stoplight, and we show the picture of the stoplight and ask the kids to describe it. And then we talk about what the colors mean. So green, we go, red, we stop, yellow, we have to slow down, that sort of thing. And then from there, we okay. Sorry about that interruption. We're going to continue on. So in this activity, once we determined that green was another way to describe good behaviors and things that were acceptable, and red were the things that we shouldn't do, we talked about different behaviors that we might experience at school and things that we might do or say at school and whether or not those were red or green. And so I had a group of 3, and I asked each one of them to give me an example of a good behavior, a green behavior, and a red behavior. And so then from there, I gave them some red behaviors, and we talked about what that student should have done differently or a different way they could have reacted to that situation. And then we had the little cards with the pictures that also had the scenario, so he did have the visual there. And once we had discussed that, for about 10 minutes or so, then I gave them a sheet where I wanted them to work just by themselves. This didn't have red or green, but it had smileys. You had the happy face, the not, the neutral face, and then the sad face. And so I explained to them that the happy face was green and the sad face was the same as red. And they had to look at what was going on in the picture and decide whether that would be a red or a green. And so that way I could actually determine how well my target student had, understood the lesson that we had gone over.
All right. So what went really well for this lesson?
For this lesson, I really liked that the kids gave me the opportunity. They kind of led the lesson. They talked about different behaviors and things that they had done and gotten in trouble for, or things that they had done at school and maybe they got a reward. And so I think that really helped them because then they were allowed to make those connections without me just saying, okay, here's little Johnny. He hits his friend.
Sure.
Is that good or bad?
Right.
And so when my target student could say, well, when I hit little Johnny, that was bad, and then I got sent to the office,
sure,
then he's able to make those connections better. So hopefully he'll help them to remember those.
Sure. So if you could reteach this, what would you do differently?
I think that I would like to have more students in the group because with just the 3 of them, I felt like they kind of all just wanted to play off of each other a little bit, and so we kind of got into this habit where we're talking about the same things over and over again. So if I had had more kids that could have shared their experiences, I felt like we could have had better discussions as far as, why this is a bad behavior. And why, when I get frustrated, I can't just yell at my teacher or that sort of thing.
Sure. So what background knowledge from this target student did you consider when teaching this lesson?
So for this lesson, I really used the feedback from his parents, from his teachers, and like his discipline history.
Sure.
Behavior is one of the main factors that he's in the self-contained classroom. Not necessarily academics,
sure,
but because his behavior is so negatively affecting his learning and the learning of the other students.
Sure.
So I really wanted to focus in on that. And, he's transitioning out, so he's spending some time in the regular classroom with his aide. But he's kind of, I feel like personally he's kind of being held back a little bit because he's not being pushed as much being in that setting, even though that's what is the best placement for him, but solely based on his behavior. So that was really kind of the driving force for both of these lessons.
Sure.